So we're all in agreement that Duchess is a good character, right? Because I feel like this damage is way more absurd than it should be. This is probably the craziest solo run I've ever had, with one of the most min-maxed builds I've ever seen in the game. Genuinely, I think this might be the most optimal Duchess setup that you can feasibly get within a single match of Night Rain. But here are my relics before anything else. You can see I'm not running the Calico relic, which a lot of people like to run, that has Chilling Mist and Stealth on Frost. I like my enemies to see me, and I personally think that I'm better served with Flaming Strike at the start of the expedition. In all honesty, it's probably just preference if you want to go the status or the raw damage route. So anyways, after we clear this camp, I immediately go to the Grace to get my first level up, which is fairly crucial as going from level 1 to 2 doubles almost every stat. Since we're level 2 now, I can play somewhat aggressive, so I immediately look to the west for the closest field boss. Right here, I see that it's a Black Knife Assassin, so I make the decision to fight it, but understand if it was something like an Ancestor Spirit or a Draconic Tree Sentinel, I would not fight it right away. There is somewhat of a logic to this, although right now it might seem like random decision making. It's a little hard to explain, but I am making a video about it. So for now, just know that if it was something higher scaling than a Black Knife Assassin, I probably wouldn't fight it off rip, and I don't recommend that you do that either. Anyways, from these rewards, we get a Blood Dagger, a Hammer, and 10% more runes going forward. I'm not all that interested in the Blood Dagger, so I just take the runes, because honestly, I don't think you can ever go wrong with runes. And then I just make my way over to the Troll that has the Smithing 2 in this mine, potentially also clearing the Everjail and the field boss that's on the other side. With this, it's never really a question of whether I would take anything other than the Smithing 2, unless it's like some insane weapon, but honestly it never is, so I just take the Smithing 2 immediately. Luckily there's a Demi-Human Queen out here, and I know that we can defeat that fairly easily, so I just immediately run over to it and just fucking blast it. I don't really worry about the little guys because they don't do much if you're just attacking the queen. The main concern is actually making sure that you don't get too greedy with your own attacks, and making sure that you're able to dodge her if she attacks. Honestly, we get pretty lucky and just immediately take the crit and end the fight there. For these rewards, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer if you take the Improved Sorceries on the A-scaling intelligence character, especially because I've seen that there's a magic tower up north on the map, so I plan on taking the Spirit Tree up there and praying to God that there's a good sorcery. As a nice bonus, I can clear the Everjail and the field boss next to it on the way, so I get to take down 2 birds with 1 stone. Unfortunately, I get this bug where instead of taking the bird, I just walk off the edge like an idiot and I can't do anything. I don't know if anyone else has had this bug, but I have no idea what causes it, and it's kind of annoying at the worst of times. Okay, so right here I see that it's an Elder Lion, and I just jump on it to fight it straight away with my still grey dagger, which is actually, you know, made viable because I have Flaming Strike on it. Again, we get the Improved Sorceries and Incantations, and I just take it straight away, knowing that I'm going to get some form of spell extremely soon. As long as it's not like Glintstone Pebble or something, these bonuses are going to start paying off. When we get to the top, I just immediately see Carrion Slicer on this, and it's like fucking neuron activation. I just take it instantly, which no regrets about, but I didn't even look at the other options, which is kind of funny. In all honesty, I don't think there's a single other option that would have made me consider not taking Carrion Slicer. It's just so ridiculously powerful on Duchess and Recluse. I also become very glad that I didn't spend the Smithing 2 on my dagger, because it means that I can get a purple Carrion Slicer and have even more damage. And since I have some spare time before the circle fully closes, I just decided to clear out this camp as well, which can be kind of annoying since it's red main nights, but it should be okay. Well, he's dead. You'll start to notice this becomes a trend in this run where enemies just simply perish after getting 1 attack off. It's actually so ridiculous. Now, this guy, like 1, 2, 3, restage, and he's just 1 HP. Like what do you do against it? This guy's fucking shitting his pants now. He's got he's got a shield out. Anyways, we kill him, and now it's probably time to just run the circle. So I think I kill these guys and then just make my way over. Here we get our first insane talisman, the Magic Scorpion Charm, which basically makes us do more magic damage, but we take more damage to magic. It's a pretty easy trade-off considering not that many enemies in Night Rain do magic damage. At least boss-wise, I think there's maybe a few that do, but I'm honestly not that worried about them. This guy really choke slams me and then just dies in like half a second. I also know that Omens means Knight's Cavalry Duo, so I'm going to use my ult off rip to make sure that they don't really target me, and I can maybe take out one before my ult wears off. I quickly realize how fast they're just going to die to Carrion Slicer. Like, this should not be allowed. And the only thing at this point I'm missing is some type of successive attack ramp up for my damage. Unfortunately, in this run, we don't actually find that. But if I had Winged Sword Insignia or something, I think it might be sacrilegious to think about. After day 1, we end on level 10, which isn't crazy or anything, but I mostly think I didn't get higher because we didn't hit mid-castle before this. If you go to mid-castle early, you can easily get like level 13 or even 14 before day 1 ends, but this run we decided to do some other stuff. It's really fine, it's just something I thought I'd bring up. I know that I want to go to the Super Merchant at some point, so I figured I'd do that now, and as we're going over there, the formidable great enemies get located on our map, so we can see that actually all 3 of them line up on the way, which is actually kind of perfect because it means I can kill all 3 of them as I hit the merchant as well. So my thought process is just to kill all 3 of these enemies using Carrion Slicer, and it's so easy and it goes so quickly. Like, honestly, at this point, I was just having fun looking at the yellow damage on this weapon. Now, these rewards are actually pretty interesting. On the one hand, Glintstone Chris is kind of crazy, and on the other, I have Carrion Slicer, and this shield has FP restoration upon attacks. So you can see me thinking about it here, and I do end up going the shield and just offhanding it so that I don't have to worry about FP as much when using the Slicer, or at least you would think. Looking at this footage and watching it back, I don't think that sorceries are triggering the FP restoration. You can see that I'm losing 4 FP per slice, but I'm not getting any back. In theory, I would effectively only be losing 1 FP per slice because Carrion Slicer uses 4 FP and I should be getting back 3. At this point, I actually don't have any way to confirm this. I'm just judging off the FP bar. But regardless, it actually, I don't think really ended up mattering because we had like 8 Starlight Shards the rest of this run, and I don't think we used more than 2. So honestly, it was not very impactful, but it is kind of interesting to know that sorceries don't trigger the FP restoration, potentially. I don't know. At the merchant, I just instantly buy the Ritual Sword Talisman, which is guaranteed to be there, as well as the Erdtree's Favor, which normally I would buy, but in this case we have the Magic Scorpion Charm, which I think is going to be better. So I end up just buying the Ritual Sword and then going and tackling the next boss, which turns out to be a Magma Worm. Theoretically, this fight is actually going to go really quick, but as you can see, he pulls some fucking shenanigans and just drags me into the lava a bunch of times. Here we actually pull Malekith's Black Blade, which I've actually never gotten before, so I was kind of excited to take this. It's not like we're going to be using it a whole lot because it's a colossal weapon, I'm playing Duchess, and we also have Carrion Slicer, but I figured I may be able to do something with its Ash of War, considering that the last boss is also weak to Holy. The Ash of War actually does percentage damage and also limits the enemy's HP bar, so it can be useful on some occasions. I go back to the merchant to see what else he sells, and I see this hand ballista which has a wield passive that gives you many periodical glint blades. The thought is that Carrion Slicer is only going to be a one-hand weapon at all times, so I just take this for more damage overall when I'm not using the shield for FP restoration. At this point, we have a purple Carrion Slicer, we're sitting on Magic Scorpion Charm, Ritual Sword Talisman, and we have 8 Starlight Shards and periodical glint blades in our back pocket. So I'm feeling extremely confident as I go into mid-castle. He actually dropped another legendary, which I don't remember. But I mean, we're not going to be using it, so we just take the blood loss and kind of move on. There wasn't anything there that I was crazy psyched over. Even here, this talisman selection is actually kind of crazy, but like we just don't need any of it because we already have the best shit for this build. I just ult here so that the lion and all the banished knights don't look at me while I'm murdering them as they wake up. And I mean, he just gets absolutely destroyed. This guy goes back to sleep and then dies in 2 seconds. Like, increased maximum HP is a no-brainer. I could have stayed around and just farmed runes on the banished knights, but I decided to go up top using this skip that you can do on the castle. It's only a little bit quicker, and I wouldn't recommend using this when it's Troll's castle because they just throw pots at you and you get fucking obliterated by them. I see it's Bellbearing Hunter, but honestly at this point I'm just kind of unfazed because my build will just deliver the Wrath of God and eviscerate him. I get a little bit greedy because I just wanted to see how high my DPS could go, so I end up just playing it a little bit safer the rest of the fight. Normally this would be a pretty good reward, but I mean, you can't take crits with Carrion Slicer, so I take it, but I didn't think I was ever going to use it at the time. By now, I've actually hit level 15, and there's just not much for me to do in the zone. I've killed every field boss that there is, and I think I have the best talismans by this point, so there isn't anything for me to really do. I end up just running back to the merchant and just stocking up on Starlight Shards because why not, and I also buy a Stone Sword key to do the only Evergaol that's in the zone still. Unfortunately, it turns out to be the triple Crystolian, which kinda sucks. Until I realized I have this giant ass sword in my pocket, so let me introduce you to this lovely charged R2. I wish that there was a way to speed up the spawn of the day boss. And it's the Onyx Lords again, and that one, oh, and that was quick. So Falling Star Beasts can be pretty tanky, so I end up just ulting off Rip here just to see how much damage I can get in, and I end up whiffing most of my hits. But Carrion Slicer seems to be doing pretty well even in this scenario against a Falling Star Beast. The fight would have gone a lot smoother if I was more comfortable fighting these guys. As it is, I actually don't know their moveset all that well, so I kind of play it a bit more safe and less aggressive than I normally would. As I get hit. So you'll notice my FP bar was actually just under half after that fight, which is not bad at all considering I thought I would need to stockpile Starlight Shards, and this reduced FP consumption is kind of the cherry on top. At this point we have infinite Carrion Slicer. We don't need to worry about FP at all on one of the most FP inefficient characters in the entire game. So now, just before the fight, I want to note that magic is actually extremely weak against Heolstor. In fact, it's what he's most highly resistant to. So going into this fight, I wasn't expecting to do as much damage, and so I was really surprised when we got a 20-second phase 1 Heolstor. I mean, overall, I've had better Heolstor fights, which is kind of unfortunate given the build and the opportunity we had. I think the only way I could have made this damage better is if I had some way to apply Frostbite, which I know I'm gonna get flamed for not having Chilling Mist on my fucking starting dagger, but like whatever, okay? And for those wondering, this was my ending time. I had a 32:05, which is not horrible, but it's also not like insane. If I was going for speed, I would have played some of the fights a lot differently and played more aggressive, but overall, I was just having fun watching the health bar just plummet as soon as I pulled out a little blue stick. But yeah, if you did enjoy the breakdown, consider supporting me, and maybe I'll make more of these.